Welcome, everyone, to Finding Fulfillment, Determining Your Winning Strategy with Amazon's Programs. I'm Ruthie Hawley, Senior Product Manager for the U.S. third-party selling business. Today, we have an exceptional panel of experts who will help you decode Amazon's fulfillment options and guide you towards building the right strategy for your business. With us today, we have Connor Nolan, Jessica Newcomb, and Lex Schoen. Jessica, would you tell us a little bit about what you do at Amazon?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ruthie. Jessica Newcomb. I have been at Amazon for almost 7 years now. That entire time I've spent in U.S. fulfillment, working with third-party sellers. Me and my team work with sellers that are not only starting their journey on Amazon and trying to decide, do I do FBM, do I do FBA? We also work with some really tenured sellers that have been on the platform for years and years and years, selling super complex fulfillment systems where they have multiple locations, all the way up to $50 million a year sellers. So hopefully we can provide some expertise and tips and tricks.
That's great. Connor, what about you?
Hi, my name's Connor Nolan. I've been at Amazon for about 8 years. In March, we decided to peel off some product managers and operations folks and create a team dedicated to the U.S. fulfillment by merchant business. And so I lead that team, and I've been really excited about everything I've learned about y'all for the last 6 months.
Lex, tell us a bit.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I am a senior product marketing manager for external fulfillment worldwide, which means that my job is to really actually understand all of our products, programs, policies, and then my personal meaning in life is to figure out how to tell you all about it and how they all work together.
Wonderful. Well, now that we've met our incredible panel, let's jump right into the meat of our discussion. I know many of you are wrestling with fulfillment decisions, so let's start with the fundamentals. Jessica, would love to start with you.
Sure.
Let's address a common decision point many sellers face. When deciding between FBA and FBM, what key factors should sellers consider?
Ooh, good question. It's always the first thing, too, that we speak to sellers about. So the first question you ask yourself, can you fulfill products on your own, right? A lot of people have their own fulfillment logistics network. They have their own warehouses they can ship out. But there's also a lot of sellers that sell on Amazon that don't have that. Let FBA take care of that for you. FBA kind of becomes that one-stop shop. You send the products to us, we'll fill it in our fulfillment centers all across the US, put the Prime badge on there, which by the way gets about a 25% increase of sales just for having the Prime badge on there alone. If you have your own, if you don't have your own fulfillment network, FBA is your option. They handle it from A to Z. But for those sellers that do have the opportunity and do have their own fulfillment network, we actually say go down to the types of products you have. There are certain products that are a no-brainer for FBA, right? Products that are selling fast, that have strong velocity. Strong velocity to us is probably anything over 20 to 25 units a month, so it's actually pretty small. But those are the products that you know sell well on Amazon. They're the ones that you know the customers want, and they want it fast. Those are great products. But there's also a lot of products that probably aren't a good fit for FBA. Things like units that ship in 2 boxes. Not a good fit for FBA right now. Products that need refrigeration, FBA can't handle that. Also, I would say even looking down into products that are really heavy, so think for us, heavy bulky might be anything that's over 50 pounds. Those might actually be more profitable fulfilling it yourself. So those are not gonna be a good fit for FBA. One of the things that we actually think make a big difference is looking at the products you have, but also looking at them often. One of the tools that Amazon provides is called the FBA revenue calculator. It's really cool if you haven't seen it lately. Go take another look. You can actually put in what your fulfillment costs would be and compare between the two. That I think is something that's going to be really helpful, especially as the cost of goods may change throughout the year. Your inbounding costs may also adjust. So using that tool, there's another one that we like to push sellers to is called the FBA Opportunities Dashboard. That's going to show you of the products you have currently, what may be a good fit to FBA. It's going to include the fulfillment fee that, of course, is always based just on the dimensions and the weight of your products, but it's also going to tell you how many other Prime offers are on there. or how many prime offers there are not. So maybe that could be something you look for, as well as cost and calculating the increase of sales, again, that you're gonna get just by adding that prime badge on there is gonna be key.
That's really great. Where would a seller go to access those dashboards?
Ooh, Seller Central, of course, one-stop shop. But I would also say the FBA dashboard is another really great one specifically for FBA. But for your FBM products that you're shipping out, the Fulfillment's Inside dashboard is going to be critical for you to keep a really good eye on, not only to monitor what your actual delivery is, but your delivery promise, which sometimes we even say might be a little bit more important even than just the actual delivery.
I have a question, actually, about the FBA Opportunities dashboard. I would assume that you guys run into sellers constantly that maybe are going to launch a new product, and if they see that the opportunity isn't high enough on FBA, they choose to basically just not put the product onto Amazon. What is your piece of advice for those folks? I would imagine some people get, almost too reliant on FBA.
Oh, totally. One cool part about, I think, selling on Amazon is that you can switch it up, right? You don't have to say FBA all the time. You don't have to say FBM all the time. You also don't have to do that per ASIN, right? So you can have 2 SKUs on the same ASIN. You can have one FBA ASIN and one FBM ASIN. Sometimes the true value of having both is that obviously there's a lead time for FBA, right? You create a shipment, you inbound it. That could take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sometimes in peak season that we're coming up on could be 4 weeks. With MFN, you can get your product live in 15 minutes, right? And so one thing that we really try to stress is maybe do both. Maybe inbound to FBA, but while you're waiting on that product to become available, have an MFN offer that's ready to go so you never lose sales. It's also a good pro tip if you run out of inventory on FBA. Let's say that you have a sale or you're doing Prime Big Deal days that we just heard about today, right? Like sometimes you run out of inventory. Put that offer on MFN real quick. You can have both. That way you never miss out on the sales. Does that help, Lex?
Yeah, no, that's, I think, hugely important.
Yeah.
Connor, is there anything else you would add about what is a good fit for FBM or MFN? We'll use those interchangeably up here, same thing.
I think irrespective of the channel that you're going to go with, you just need to be really intentional about where you are in your growth life cycle. Like, are you investing for future growth and maybe your per unit profitability is a little bit less important because you're trying to build to a certain level of business? Or do you have a more mature product and you're looking to harvest some profitability and you've already earned a lot of search relevance and spent a lot of money on deals and advertising and built that credibility with customers? And so we're going to give some kind of broad strokes advice today, but you really need to dial in that product strategy in order to be successful.
Yeah.
Great. Well, building on the hybrid approach, this could be a question for you, Jessica, or you, Connor. Do you have any examples of how sellers have successfully leveraged both FBA and MFN for a single ASIN and how that's helped?
Yeah, well, I think the first one I would talk about is out of stock, right? Or like while you're inbounding new products. I would also say that it's really great if you're maybe experimenting with what selection you're offering on Amazon. It's a great way to test it out. But I would also say don't undervalue the value of the Prime badge, right? We have a lot of sellers that start with MFN. They're like, oh, well, I only sell a small amount. By putting that Prime badge on there, that accelerant of sales, that's really what we see as the value that the Prime badge offers. Yes, it helps you fulfill the products if you haven't yet invested into that logistics network for yourself, but also the Prime badge is gonna be there. So testing things out, I think, is another great strategy, but the main one to me is out of stock, making sure you don't ever have that loss of sales. The biggest thing we wanna do is always have that availability for sales.
Makes sense, especially going into peak.
Yeah. Totally. And if it's already in your back pocket, that means your ranking for that ASIN already exists. You're not trying to fight that 0 to 1 battle, which is huge when you're trying to get something new online.
Agreed.
Yeah, FBM can also be a great hedge in highly seasonal categories.
Yeah,
so
right.
kind of similar to what you just spoke about. Nobody wants to have too many Halloween costumes left over on November 1st. That's going to be pretty relevant here coming up. And so just using FBM to probably get into some multi-channel fulfillment. Although we do have a multi-channel fulfillment product in FBA, as you get closer to holidays like that, I think has worked really well for sellers.
Being nimble and going back and forth, I think that's key.
Totally. Connor, for sellers who are handling their own shipping, so through FBM, what products are available for them to help them optimize their business?
Yeah, we have at least half a dozen fulfillment by merchant products that are purpose-built to help you drive that business. The best part about all 6 of those products is that they're free. There aren't incremental fees to use them. Maybe one of the suboptimal aspects of it is that there are at least 6 disparate products that you have to navigate when you're using the fulfillment by merchant seller experience. And so the framework that I would walk through is I think of this as a hierarchy of needs. You have your baseline needs, which is delivery accuracy. That's what's going to earn trust with customers and preserve their trust in your brand going forward. And so we have 3 different products that can help you do that in a more automated way and also improve your detail page experience. The first one is automated handling time. Automated handling time is very appropriately branded. All we do is we look at how quickly you've handled a product or a SKU in the past, and we predict how quickly you're going to handle it in the future.
And importantly, we're not trying to rush you. We're just looking at your patterns from the past.
All of these are about accuracy.
Yes.
Right? Accuracy based on historic.
Accuracy over speed, yeah.
Our automation product for your transit time, so the leg at which you kind of hand off that package to a carrier, is called ship settings automation. And again, ship settings automation takes millions of inputs from both you, other sellers, and the carriers that my team works with day in and day out, and attaches a delivery promise that we feel confident you can meet. And so if you use those 2 products both together, instead of getting that ranged delivery promise experience on your detail page, delivered Tuesday through Friday, which we know customers don't really love, you'll get a definite day delivery promise that, again, we feel confident based on your performance in the past that you can hit. The third product in kind of this foundational layer is buy shipping. Now, most people think of buy shipping as a marketplace for shipping labels, and that's true, that's accurate. We have pre-negotiated rates that you can use if they're better than the rates that you have, and you can lower your cost to serve that way. There's actually 2 features that I don't think get enough credit in buy shipping. The first one is that it's integrated with a lot of our promise automation tools. So we get earlier and better data integrity when you use buy shipping to buy labels. That can inform the other 2 accuracy products that I've spoken to. And then the second feature is that you can bring your own rates. You can link your rates that if you have a commercial agreement with a carrier, upload those into Seller Central, either through Seller Central or through an API, and you can buy shipping labels with those rates and still get credit for using buy shipping. So if you use all those 3 products together, we're so confident that you'll be able to meet your delivery promise that we're showing to customers on the detail page. We're going to give you on-time delivery rate protection, which means if a package does happen to be late, you won't be penalized for it. It'll come out of your OTDR enforcement metrics. And we're really bullish based on the early returns that we've seen in the business since we launched this policy this year.
I have to mention claims protection. I have to.
Claims
I'm
protection.
really passionate about post-order and what you can do to improve that experience as an FBM seller. And if you use buy shipping, especially, and you get one of those claims protected labels, you will not be responsible if something goes wrong with the delivery, right? You're going to be able to recoup your funds on that. And that is just such a huge selling point, and I think takes a lot of the fear out of testing that product.
And Lex, that's even if I am uploading my own carrier rates to buy shipping. I'm just using the tool.
Yes, it needs to say claims protected when you see it in the UI in Seller Central. But yes, absolutely.
That's great. Yeah, misnomer. We'll take a note on that for buy shipping. Okay, after these basics, SSA, AHT, buy shipping, where would a seller go from there for the next tier of tools?
Yeah, the second tier I'd link back to actually delivery speed and getting faster promises and faster delivery. The first is multi-location inventory. So your business has gotten big enough, you're now shipping out of multiple locations across the US. You can upload, again, through Seller Central or through API, what inventory you have in each location. And what that allows us to do is naturally make delivery promises that are location aware, both for where your product is and where your customers are. So if you have product in Kansas City and you're shipping it to St. Louis, you can probably do that in one day, right? If you have other products in Seattle, you don't want to be promising those based on a blended average. And so I would definitely recommend multi-location inventory. The second one is premium shipping options. Lex is going to talk about that in a minute, so I'm going to give her the floor then. But what I would say about premium shipping options is this is maybe a misunderstood product for a lot of our seller community. It's premium shipping from the perspective of the carrier, right? You don't actually have to charge customers for shipping. What premium shipping options allows you to do is tell us where you can make accelerated 1 and 2 day shipping promises. You can then show those promises to customers, and the majority of our revenue generating offers in today's FBM business that are shipped through PSO are with free shipping. So sellers in general are subsidizing that shipping and just showing 1 day free, 2 day offers to customers. And again, speeding up their store.
Yeah, and to just anecdotally highlight how massive that is, I think it's so tempting to penny pinch when you're making your fulfillment decisions, right? That makes sense because you want to keep your margins healthy. But with PSO, we have a heavy and bulky shipper, for example, that I talked to a little while ago, who wound up with a 55% increase once they turned on PSO. You're going to be able to eat the couple extra cents on that label in order to see that volume growth.
Well, there's clearly a progression here. You know, first you have accuracy, then you have speed. Where would you go for experienced sellers who are really looking to leverage the most advanced tools that we have?
Yeah, the top of the pyramid is going to be Seller Fulfilled Prime.
Yeah.
And I really look at Seller Fulfilled Prime as an output of the investment that you've made over probably a longer time period into some of these products, dialing your business, and being able to meet the same customer experience guardrails that we put on our own Amazon Fulfillment Network business. We're really happy with our Seller Fulfilled Prime business today. It has a healthy growth rate. We're seeing more sellers be successful in it as we get throughout the year. We've made some policy changes that, from what I hear, are favorable. The on-time delivery rate protection that I mentioned earlier today, that does apply to Prime orders, so you can use that to help drive your Seller Fulfilled Prime business. But many, many sellers who engage in trial, just from what I've observed in my first 6 months on the business, maybe weren't necessarily ready to be able to hit some of the guardrails that we need to require. Because I'd probably argue about this at a happy hour with some AWS folks, but I truly believe that Prime is our most important sub-brand at Amazon, only kind of second to the overall Amazon brand. And so we need to keep that customer experience front and center and hold a really high bar, both for ourselves internally, as well as if you're going to go the Seller Fulfilled Prime route. The most efficient way for most products to get a Prime badge is still going to be to use FBA.
Yeah.
Great. So you can actually get a Prime badge on FBA and FBM if you use this advanced tier of Seller Fulfilled Prime.
That's right.
SFP.
You can, if you can get through the program, we absolutely, like I said, we have a healthy, growing Seller Fulfilled Prime business that we're really proud of. It's a high bar for us, and it's going to be a high bar for sellers.
Well, that's great. Thanks for that overview of those tools. Now let's explore growth pathways. Lex, when we talk about scaling, many sellers believe FBA is the only path to significant growth. So what's your perspective? Let's hear a little bit more about taking it to the next level.
You know that expression, if you want to go fast, go slow? I think that's where you have to think about the FBA pyramid, right? So once you take those basics and you really understand, in order to hit my delivery and promise dates with FBM, I need SSA, I need AHT, I need by shipping. And yeah, I know we work at Amazon, we're up here telling you about our products, of course we are, but we're also here to tell you these things because we know how hard it is to holistically understand how to win, especially in the FBM category, right? You want to be able to understand what we as Amazon are hoping that you're going to do in order to delight your customers, so that then ultimately, we all win and your business scales. I see a lot of FBM sellers sort of zoom super far ahead and focus on how am I going to, kind of hack my way to SFP, which of course would be wonderful and delightful, and we all know those stats. Please focus first on those basics of delivery accuracy. That's the first thing that I'm going to tell you. That's the number one thing that's going to grow your business, and we have proven, externalized data on this. We are not trying to rush you to deliver anything more quickly than you can. We are setting you up for success by basically saying, if you can make your delivery date accurate. Again, in either way, that's where one of these myths comes in, is people say, okay, this is going to deliver on the 20th, but they can always get it out the door 72 hours early. If you can close that gap, that 3-day gap, right? All of a sudden, with every day of accuracy that improves, you get a 5% sales uplift. And that's proven by our own studies.
And that's not changing your speed that you actually
Completely.
deliver.
It's just...
You don't have to do anything faster.
It's just about you believing in yourself and hitting that delivery date, right? And I think once you have that down and you understand, okay, I can hit this date, I'm confident in it. Actually, I'm going to pause there and say, another thing that freaks people out is that these all are often ASIN level decisions that you get to make, right? So if you have stuff that ships more slowly, or stuff that you can only really hit, premium shipping within the Midwest or the, Southwest or whatever, these are options that are available to you. I see a lot of people get scared to even test any of our products because they assume that they've got to turn it on nationally, or heaven forbid, internationally, right? It's just not true. And I think one of the principles that we talk about as Amazon employees is the concept of a two-way door, right? Two-way door decisions are decisions that you can make quickly in order to say, okay, I'm going to try this out, and if it doesn't work out, no harm, no foul, I can come straight back through the door and nothing is for the worse, right? And I think a lot of our fulfillment decisions that will ultimately lead to your growth are not decisions that you can't back out of later, And so once you get those basics, test the waters, PSO would be where I would go first, personally. Connor was just saying it's kind of been a maybe historically underloved or misunderstood product. But like I just told you, you don't have to put all your ASINs in. You can just do this at a regional level in the places where you can actually hit it. And that massive potential growth that you're going to see from turning on PSO, that volume is going to, cover up where that margin stress might have come from.
Yeah, PSO allows customers to see the products that are actually close to them, being able to get to them much faster than they can to other parts of the country. And sellers don't have to change anything about their logistics. They're just showing the favorability of their logistics to the customers. And so, I love that. When I'm thinking about shopping on Amazon, I'm always looking at how quickly it's going to get there.
Completely. And we know, again, anecdotally, about the fact that having a single date instead of a date range on your FBM listings is huge, and PSO is going to give you that. Delivery accuracy is going to give you that. And then also your PSO ASINs are going to show up for Prime members. So even though it doesn't have the Prime badge that you're going to get with SFP or FBA, you will still show up in search, which is, as we know, way more than half the battle.
I love that you called out definitive delivery dates, because that's another benefit of ship settings automation, which is one of those foundational tools. It'll give sellers it'll give customers a defined delivery promise on a specific day.
And I think one more thing that I will say, because I did mention that I'm passionate about the post-order experience, is, so many of our sellers are stressed about refunds, you're stressed about returns, you're stressed about, what if I let Amazon handle my customer service, whether that's through FBA or a program like Customer Service by Amazon. These concerns become no-brainers once you get these basics of fulfillment down. I have all the data that, shows that there are so many queries that come through customer service, for example, which are just like, hey, where's my stuff? I didn't get my stuff. It said it was coming in this range of 4 days, and it's day 1, and I'm nervous that it's not coming because I have a party this weekend, right? And so making sure that that fulfillment level is just rock solid then makes things like, CSBA testing, whatever, it makes them no-brainers, which is great.
Yeah, when it comes to growth too, we've also got 2 or 3 products on our roadmap that are going to launch this year. And I'm not going to talk about them here, but I would encourage you to go down to booth 52. We've got some demos there, and then you'll see some announcements on Thursday in one of the keynote main stage speeches that we're just really excited to continue to invest in the fulfillment by merchant channel.
Because it gives you guys optionality, which is huge, right? We know that FBA has massive advantages, and Jessica could tell you all about them, but it is not the right choice for every ASIN or every seller, and we as Amazon know that very intensely, and we are trying to come up very quickly with new and improved ways to help you ship your stuff.
Well, we've talked a lot about growth. Let's spend the last few minutes on that post-order experience. So what's available for a seller to use to enhance their post-order experience in FBM, and what's really important for them to consider?
We know for sure that having customer service that is at the Amazon level of customer obsession is going to be one of the most important things, right? That was why customer service by Amazon was originally created a few years back. It's a nascent product, especially in the US market, and we're still figuring out how to work with heavy and bulky, for example, or make sure that you can deliver business invoices, to customers that request them. But it is so much better than having to sit in buyer-seller messaging, especially as you're growing your business and getting that volume, because those, customer queries will come. And so once you have those fulfillment basics down, that's another option of a program that you can test, because it gives you that much more time to then go straight back over and focus on, improving my listings. Let me get better product photography. Let me use the money I was using on customer service to now, go shoot cool product videos. We know that that upper funnel part really matters, so let us take care of the part that's after the fact.
Great. Well, as we bring our session to a close, I want to tap into each of your expertise just one final time. So, Jessica, going back to you, what's your single most important takeaway for sellers today?
Ooh, just one? I would say revisit your strategy for fulfillment and do it often. Whether it is monitoring through the Fulfillment Insights dashboard, your FBM products that you're shipping, make sure that you are keeping that promised delivery date accurate. I would also say sometimes sellers think that it's great to have that little extra buffer or that gap, but as Lex said, for every one day that you decrease your promise, right? So not shipping faster, already doing that well, but showcasing that to the customer is going to increase your sales. So you could easily have a 15% increase of sales just by having a more accurate delivery if you have a couple of days of gap. But revisiting that, always looking at that, looking at the FBA dashboard to make sure the depth of inventory that you keep is really key as well. So I would say continue to evaluate your fulfillment strategy. Let it change throughout the year. That's totally normal. That would probably be my one takeaway.
That's great. Lex?
I would double down on that and say testing fulfillment the same way that you're testing your marketing or testing your product photography or what's at the beginning of that carousel. Fulfillment doesn't have to be this static, we said it and then we've decided that's what we're gonna do and that's our lot in life. There are so many massive gains that you can make and growth opportunities from improving and optimizing your fulfillment. And remember what I said about two-way doors. Like you test it for a month and then you turn it back off. That's okay. Like these are tools that are meant to be flexible, not meant to trap you into one ecosystem forever.
Connor?
I have two things. My one takeaway is remember that we have a vested interest in preserving your delivery accuracy. And so when we roll out these tools, at the end of the day, customers come to Amazon.com and they might get frustrated with a seller, but if they're frustrated at Amazon, that's also going to endure. And so we do have models on the back end that will start to pad, promises that maybe we're less confident in, or if weather arises, we immediately put padding in, and that's across all of Amazon channels, right? We react to that. We have a lot of data science behind it. So I understand that this is your business. This is what you're working on every day of your life. You're passionate enough entrepreneurs that you've gone this route, and you don't maybe want to take a risk that you don't have to, and I totally, I'm empathetic to that. but experiment a bit because it is really important for you to dial in those delivery promises to grow your business. And the second thing is actually an ask. If you see me kind of wandering around the hallways or you see me downstairs at the booth tomorrow, we're launching a lot of really exciting MFN products over the next year. We are optimizing certain parts of our existing MFN products, and I'm really excited about the investment we're making. The one thing I'd love to know is, like, what's the best way to get in touch with you? Is it Seller Central cards? Is it email? Is it push notifications? Because from our relatively small sample size of hundreds of sellers that we talk to directly and that Jessica's team talks to, I mean, we get more than 50% attach rates sometimes when we just have the chance to communicate effectively. We're not gonna be able to call all of our hundreds of thousands of sellers one-on-one. It would take years, right? And so, we're trying to build the right AI tools for you. We're trying to be more consultative. But if there's an effective way to do that, I'd love your recommendations. But thanks a lot for being here. I know it's a big time investment. It's a financial investment on your part. And we're really excited about this business.
Well, thank you all for your attention. Please don't forget to scan the feedback code on your way out. And our panel will be available just out those doors for a few minutes after the session for any quick questions. But we hope you enjoy the rest of Accelerate. Thank you so much.